Is this thing on? Click, 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 click. It looks like it. I don't know what happened this afternoon. I've been stymied by it. I've had to rewire everything just to make sure all the connections were stable. Excuse me. Those of you who joined me saw what happened. There was a flashing battery light on the screen, which is really odd because the camera is not connected to a battery. The camera is actually connected to a power source, an actual plug. So I don't know what that was. And then the stream went down and don't know. But hopefully, God willing, everything will be okay tonight. Today, excuse me, if you were here earlier, you know I had an interview with Jaco Booyens, a man who has dedicated his life to helping traffic victims. Obviously, still getting better. Obviously, I couldn't let that thing play on YouTube. Maybe that was part of the problem. Maybe the gremlins came after me and shut that down. I don't know. So I had to cut that portion out. They wouldn't allow it to stay. So just to let you know, tonight I'm going to edit it and make it nice and pretty. I'm going to publish it on Rumble as its own video, and I'm going to publish it on X as its own video. If you weren't here this afternoon, you really missed a really deep conversation, a really deep interview about what goes on. And it was also quite graphic. Let me just tell you that. Quite graphic. I can even understand why certain censors were like, hey man, you went kind of deep on this one. Yeah, it was deep. And so all I'm going to ask you, or just basically advise you, is if you see this video on Rumble, or if you see that video on X, say a prayer before you watch it. And you can talk to some of the people who were here for it and they watched it live. Say a prayer. He's going to talk about some things that are going to probably shock you, disgust you, definitely anger you, and hopefully also enlighten you, and hopefully motivate you to help. It was that, I would say it's life-changing. When you hear a man who's been in that fight for, I think he said nearly 30 years, his own sister was a victim. When you hear that, and he starts talking about it, and you realize this is much more than politics. Our culture is toast if we don't get this thing back. And let me just give you one little tidbit that came from that conversation with him. I said, man, with everything you said for the last 45 minutes or whatever, how long it was, it's depressing. It doesn't sound like we're ever going to win. And then he asked me, he goes, what do you consider a win? And I'm like, well, eradicate it. Make sure it doesn't happen again. And he's like, no, that's the mistake. If you're going to define a win by eradication, you're never going to see it. And then he described how he won yesterday. And I'm not going to tell you what happened yesterday in his life, but suffice it to say, he saved somebody. And he saved this little girl. And if you look at it day by day by day, that's the only way you can look at it. If you're looking way down the road and you're saying to yourself, man, I want this to end. He explained how that's not your goal and you will be defeated. You have to think, what can you do today? Heavy stuff, heavy stuff. And obviously after talking to him and the little light blinking on the screen and then everything else that happened, I couldn't talk to Nancy Mace. So Ashley has rescheduled the Nancy Mace interview for April 4th. So April 4th, Nancy Mace will be back on the show. I was all ready. I had set the preview videos, and so I was setting up the interview, and poof, I was so pissed. So April 4th, we're going to have Nancy Mace back on, so I hope you guys will join us. That being said, let me tell you about tonight. I got a lot of stuff to talk to you about tonight. I mean, a lot. And the first thing I'm going to do is kick off with President Trump's executive order signing turning press conference earlier today. Now, when I'm broadcasting President Trump live, I never interrupt. Tonight I'm going to play what happened this afternoon, and I'm going to talk to you about it in between. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat what he did today. If you have seen it, hopefully you'll stick around and listen to my insight, and I've got some other people's insight as well to insert. It's simply amazing what he did today. In the face of everything else, in the face of the media screaming about the war and, it got leaked, the man kept his composure and kept his focus on what he needs to do. I took a poll here, and it looks like nearly 70% of you have either not seen this at all or would like to, have some conversation about it with me or with everybody else in here. So without further ado, let's listen to President Trump from earlier today.
We're also going to sign right now some executive orders, and Will, if you would come forward?
Yes, sir.
I'll start thinking about signing them, right?
A few things for you today, sir. First, we have a pardon for Devin Archer. Devin Archer was a former business partner of the Biden family. He's was prosecuted relating to a fraud investigation, but notably the tone and tenor of that prosecution changed dramatically after he began to cooperate with congressional investigators and serve as a witness against Hunter Biden and the Biden family. We believe that was an injustice, and therefore we're asking you to pardon him.
And many people have asked me to do this. I think he was treated very unfairly. And I looked at the records, studied the records, and he was a victim of a crime, as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to undo that. All right.
One of the things with this that's very important, I want you to focus on. He just pardoned Devin Archer, who was Hunter Biden's partner. And the reason why I feel this is important is now this guy, Devin Archer, can't get in trouble. He's been pardoned by the president, which means now he can say everything he knows, give any documentation he knows, and talk completely openly about the Biden crime family. What's very interesting, if you remember back a couple of days and you understand how these building blocks are happening, what did he do a couple of days ago? He took away the entirety of the Biden crime family access to, top secret clearance, security clearance. So they no longer can look in and see what's going on. And you know what's coming next. They're going to obviously contest the pardons that Joe Biden put out there. So now they've got a witness in their pocket. I think this was a very visible sign. I think this was a sign in letting all those snakes know we're coming for you. And then one of the additional executive orders that he signs here is really going to really bring that home.
Devin Archer. Congratulations, Devin.
Next, sir, we have a presidential memorandum for your attention. This memorandum requires the immediate declassification of all FBI files relating to the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. This was interesting nonetheless, that the very next document that he has to sign after he lets Devin Archer off the hook is a memorandum declassifying Crossfire Hurricane. Wow, I wonder what they're building. You don't even have to be a lawyer to sit back and go, you're declassifying everything about Crossfire Hurricane? Yeah. I got a video with Kyle Seraphin coming up who's going to tell you more and more about Crossfire Hurricane, but that was the setup of Trump in the first administration. So now you got Devin Archer who can talk. And now you're saying, you know what, we're going to declassify Crossfire Hurricane. And right now there's a bunch of people who were formerly in the FBI who definitely have some butt squinching Obviously, one of the instances of the weaponization of law enforcement, powers of prosecution against you and others. We believe that it's long past time for the American people to have a full and complete understanding of what exactly is in those files.
Which gives the media the right to go in and check it. You probably won't bother because you're not going to like what you see. But this was total weaponization. It's a disgrace. Should never happen in this country. But now you'll be able to see for yourselves, all declassified. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All declassified?
Yes, sir.
Everything?
The FBI file with there's a classified annex, but other than that, this we'll put everything in the public eye.
Notice what he just said there. He just said, the media, now you can go ahead and look if you want. You're probably not going to because you still want to run interference for the Democrats. But there's a bunch of other media out there who are now going to have access to all this Crossfire Hurricane stuff. Add on top of everything else that's going on right now. He's burying the Democrats. This is going to be, over the next week or so, as this stuff comes out, it's going to be amazing.
Is anybody going to look? What about you? You going to look? And frankly, the FBI should be ashamed of themselves, and so should the Department of Justice, and so should Biden. Okay?
Next, sir, we have an executive.
He named him in the open air, all the press there. Biden should be ashamed. Could he be any more clear? Do you guys understand the building blocks of what they're putting out there? See, the media is probably either pretending like they don't know or they really don't know because a lot of them are involved in it. Trump is openly telling these people, I'm coming for you.
Order for your attention. We've taken action against a number of law firms that have participated either in the weaponization of government, the weaponization of the legal system for political ends, or have otherwise engaged in illegal or inappropriate activities. The law firm of Jenner and Block is one of these law firms. This is a law firm that, as you know, employed Andrew Weissman after he came off of the Mueller investigation. It's a law.
The name's starting to sound familiar. Weissman. Oh, I remember Weissman. That's the guy who's running his mouth on CNN and MSNBC these days. He was, I believe, working with Andy McCabe right under James Comey. He's letting these snakes know in no uncertain terms, I'm coming for you. I love it. I love how calmly they've put this stuff in order. They must have been planning this for years. And it's happening, and I don't think enough people are paying attention.
Firm that's engaged in invidious racially and sexually discriminatory practices. It's also a law firm that has participated in the weaponization of the legal system against American principles and values, and we believe that the measures in this executive order will help correct that.
And Andrew Weissman is the main culprit?
He's certainly...
With respect to this firm?
He is one of a number of reasons that we believe this executive order is warranted.
He's a bad guy.
Oh, I would hate to be Andrew Weissman right about now. All these guys.
Okay.
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that where possible they're using electronic methods of payment as opposed to paper checks in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is obviously an endeavor that we've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
It's basically modernization of equipment and methods, and it's something that really I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury wanted, Scott, and so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever's next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago. Okay.
Along similar lines, sir, this is an executive order. We're calling it Protecting America's Bank Account. The basic idea here is that instead of having lots of different departments and agencies and offices issuing payment, often without justification, often without any provided rationale, we're going to be centraling payment processes where possible in the Department of the Treasury and ensuring that measures are taken in Treasury against waste, fraud, and abuse to ensure that money that's leaving the public treasury is as protected as it possibly can be.
All right, good.
So now every payment that goes out of the Treasury, unlike with Wally the Nigerian, you remember Wally the Nigerian, every single payment has to be documented. And the previous executive order says now we're going to do it electronically so we have all access to where payments are going, who's receiving it, what account. Remember, if I give you a check and you go and cash that check at a check cashing store or deposit it in an XYZ bank account with no name on it, I can't really trace where that money went. Now I'm going to be able to see the invoice, I'm going to be able to approve the invoice, and now I'm going to be able to determine where that money is actually going. Deep state, deep state, put on your depends.
Many of these things should have taken place decades ago or longer.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? Yes. Election fraud, you've heard the term.
Okay, so let's take a second because that one was a mouthful. That one had so much in it that the guy reading it to him was like, "Oh, let me go through these clauses. Let me tell you everything in this." Okay, can I summarize it, Mr. President? Yeah, Dems are screwed. This is the Democrats are screwed memo. This is the executive order of bend over and kiss your butt goodbye, Democrats. Let's just call it that. The election integrity executive order that basically puts all of the stuff that they've been doing. He went through the entire laundry list of Democrat strategy and said no more. So I guarantee you, tomorrow, if not already, they're running right to where? The courts. They're running right to the courts. You think this is Nagasaki moment for the Democrats? He just blew up everything. I mean, he went through a laundry list of what Democrats do to win across the country. And nope, 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 nope. So they're going to have to sue. You understand they are going to sue. And they're going to get a judge somewhere to say, yeah, you can't do it. But as I've seen lately, I don't know if you've been watching, President Trump is moving forward. He's not stopping. And in fact, he told Judge Boasberger yesterday, go pound sand. I ain't giving you anything. It should have been that short in terms of the reply. They went, it's secret. You don't get it. Bye. What are you going to do? I mean, literally, I don't know if you saw that yesterday. Maybe I should have downloaded it. But it actually said, no, you're not getting anything. Do what you want. And I'm like, that's chilling. That's absolutely chilling. Until I saw this today. And as I saw this, and I'm like, why aren't more people on X screaming about this? Oh, they're all worried about the signal thing with Pete Hegseth. This is literally bend over and kiss your butt goodbye to the Democrat Party, coupled with all the other things they lit up to us. So now pick your poison, decide what you're going to sue for, and just have another judge do something stupid.
Hopefully. At least we'll go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other. And it's an honor to sign this one. To sign all of them, but to sign this one is a great honor. Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir.
If you have any questions, please. I wanted to ask about the talks.
So after he signed those, he introduced the ambassadors around the table, ambassador to this country, ambassador to that country. It was pretty quick. I was like, I don't need to waste anybody's time with that. And then as soon as he introduced anybody, he goes right to this Q&A with the press. And pay attention to what he says to Caitlin Collins. Love it. She gets roasted.
Saudi Arabia, it sounds like you made some progress on a Black Sea ceasefire.
Yeah.
Could you update us on that? What happens now?
So we made a lot of progress on two fronts, on both sections that we call them sections, but they're much more than that, Russia, Ukraine, and also the Middle East, and we'll see what happens. We're in deep discussions with Russia and Ukraine, and I would say it's going well, but it's a situation we should have never had to even think about, should have never happened. And on the Middle East, that's been going on for a lot of years. Centuries and centuries, it just keeps going, and we are making a lot of progress, so that's all I can report, but some very, very big talks are going and detailed talks are going on right now on both fronts.
Mr. President, you said that your national security advisor learned a lesson after a reporter...
Excuse me, I didn't make you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, the ceasefire agreement that was brokered today allows for third-party countries...
Did you catch that? Caitlin Collins, she came up there like, I'm Caitlin Collins from CNN. So, I ain't talking to you. Shut up.
help implement the agreement. What does that look like, and who's going to be involved?
The ceasefire agreement?
Yes, the maritime ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, they're going to get together. Look, they agreed to something and it got broken. There's tremendous animosity. There's a lot of hatred, as you can probably tell. And it allows for people to get together, mediate it, arbitrate it, and see if we can get it stopped. And I think it will. It'll get stopped.
What countries are you looking to work with, sir, to help implement and monitor that ceasefire?
We have other countries involved, and they're involved very strongly in the process. And that'll be resolved. That's actually, as bad as it is, that's the least of the problems. So that we'll get that resolved. And we are being aided by other countries too. Yes, please.
Yes.
Brian?
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every Republican president has always promised to take away this money that's going to these two public news outlets. If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress has backed it, would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased, the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it, and it's a waste of money. Especially, I don't even know what Doge's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse. Hundreds of billions of dollars, and just waste, fraud, abuse. You heard yesterday some of the new things that were found. 22 billion just in environment. Billion. You know, if you had 22 million, Warren, it would be nice, but 22 billion put into environmental accounts. One was 2 billion into one account, Stacey Abrams, where they had $100 in the account. And just before I came in, they put $2 billion. And you guys are looking, so you mean 2 million or maybe 200,000? No, $2 billion were put in the account. What do you think of that, Mike? Do you think that's a straight deal? 2 billion?
Just write me the check, Mr. President.
It's a horrible thing, and we have so many of those things. So they've done an incredible job, and the country wants to hear it. I think Doge is actually very popular because of what's happening. They're hearing about all of these scams and for big money, tremendous amount. When you add it up, just hundreds of billions of dollars being wasted, and much of it's fraud. You know, we talk about waste. And it is waste and abuse, but a lot of it's fraud.
Can I follow up on something?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I just want to follow up on that. If Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years and maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject. And we'll look into it. We're going to look into everything, but that's certainly a subject that's been debated for a long time, and we will look into it. Yeah.
Mr. President,
some senators have expressed hope that the White House will support a rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law. Where does the White House stand on that? And are you making progress?
Which package?
A rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law.
Yeah, well, it would be great. I think we're going to do that. I think they're going to do it. I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether, because it's just a way of protecting criminals, and nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason...
You understand that move? You just dropped that out there. We're looking at ending sanctuary cities on a federal level. It's coming. That's going to be coming in a couple weeks. He's going to do that, which is, I don't know what, especially people like Mayor Wu up in Boston. Oh, man, this guy is just sweeping the leg, just killing these people.
Democrats want to keep, and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. So we may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Mr. President, are you going to change any of the practices that your national security officials used after a reporter was inadvertently added to a group chat about attacks on Yemen?
Well, I think it's a question I've been asked now, and I've given a few answers, and they've all been the same. We have an amazing group. Our national security now is stronger than it's ever been. We have had a very, very successful, numerous attacks on that area. These are people that shoot down ships, not only our ships, ships all over the world they're shooting down right out of the water. damaging them badly, or they're going down. They're also shooting anything that happens to be flying in the area. We hit them very, very hard. There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use, a lot of people in government use, a lot of people in the media use. And I think I'll ask Mike. Mike is here. Do you want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Mr. President. You asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families. And this one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are.
In case you can't see down the end of the table, that's Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz is the person that everyone's saying put the journalist on the list, and they're blaming him, and they want him fired, and they want Pete Hegseth fired. They want everybody fired because this journalist supposedly was on some list. So that's Mike Waltz, in case you can't see him.
Or looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor. Under Biden, global shipping was shut down. Pinprick attacks, months between them, our destroyers being fired upon dozens of times. President Trump took decisive action with his national security team, took out the head missile Lear, knocked out missiles, knocked out headquarters, knocked out communication sites. And for once, as we hear, as you all hear from every one of our allies, thank God for American leadership again. Thank God for American strength. You're welcome, Lord. We had a national security team that was coordinating these efforts. As Director Radcliffe testified today, his first day on the job, he was introduced to this app on his government systems at the CIA and at the State Department and otherwise. So, look, this journalist, Mr. President, wants the world talking about more hoaxes and this kind of nonsense rather than the freedom that you're enabling. And a key part of our sovereignty is open sea lanes and knocking the crap out of terrorists, which is exactly what your team and Pete Hegseth, a good friend and fellow veteran, is leading the charge on. And it's an honor.
We had a very, very successful, we had a very, very successful evening, and we've had numerous successful evenings and days in that area. The Houthis are absolutely on the run. The worst of them have been killed. This should have been done a long time ago by Biden, but Biden was an incompetent president. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know where he was going. He had no clue. This guy had no clue. This should have been done a long time ago. As they shoot missiles at ships, randomly shoot missiles at ships, and they make their own missiles. You know, this is not an incompetent group of people. They make their own missiles. They get the missiles also from Iran. It's an offshoot of Iran, another offshoot. You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have the Houthis. You got a lot of stuff going on with Iran. And we sent a letter to Iran. You're going to have to be speaking to us one way or the other pretty soon, because we can't let this happen. But that's an app that a lot of people use. And somebody got on. I mean, I happen to know the guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine. Does very, very poorly. Nobody gives a damn about it. This gives it a little bit of a shot. And I will tell you this, that they've made up more stories. And they're just a failing magazine. The public understands that. He's a very good man. That man is a very good man right there that you criticize so strongly. He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job. In addition to him, we had very good people in that meeting, and those people have done a very, very effective job, and you're going to see it. And it goes on, by the way. It's going to go on. And I think the Houthis wish that it didn't happen, but that's what it's all about. We have to create a safe country, a safe world, and that's what we're doing.
Do you think national security was put at risk, Mr. President?
Of senior officials using Signal.
Do I plan to ban who?
The use of Signal to communicate from senior officials.
Well, I don't know I don't know anything about Signal. I wasn't involved in this, but I just heard about it. And I hear it's used by a lot of groups. It's used by the media a lot. It's used by a lot of the military, and I think successfully. But sometimes somebody can get onto those things. That's one of the prices you pay when you're not sitting in the Situation Room. with no phones on, which is always the best, frankly. But the best is to be there. In fact, oftentimes I've been in fact, just last week I was in the Situation Room with something very important, and we had a couple of people hooked up by line, and I said, cancel the line. Sorry, fellas, what you do is we'll tell you all about the meeting, because I know people do get on those lines, whether it's Signal or anything else. Yeah.
So are you going to change any procedures as a result of this?
Well, I mean, look, we look at everything, and, they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one announced tomorrow, a big one, very big. Like in the history of our country, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think probably a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first month that a president has ever had, and I think that's true. And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something. And this certainly will look at this, but the main thing was nothing.
Are you starting to see something here? As he talked about being in a skiff, which is where you can talk and nobody can hear anything. And he talked about going to a meeting last week, and he's like, make sure those phones are turned off and those lines are disconnected. Since the first time that President Trump was in office, when they were spying on him, do you think maybe he knew people should not be on open phones or on open connections or on apps and things of that nature? Do you think he was probably, with everything else you've seen, do you think he was smart enough to see this coming? I'm beginning to wonder if this was some sort of op. And I'm going to show you something later on when Jeff Goldblum, or whatever his name is, Goldberg, he's now starting, in case you haven't seen it, he's now starting to backpedal big time. You see, I don't know what he was thinking. But earlier today, I told you the meeting was scheduled. It was on the calendar. And then just yesterday, he drops this article. And out of the blue, he drops this article when he supposedly had all this information. And then today, he starts backpedaling. So I'm not really sure if we're watching a movie here. And did Trump just put out some bait to try and trap somebody? It could be. I don't know.
Nothing happened. The attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand, took place during, and it wasn't classified information. So this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a good person. The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know.
But you are going to conduct
Would
an
it be
investigation.
a problem if the Atlantic released all the text messages if they're not classified?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to ask the military about that, because maybe you wouldn't want that. I don't know. I will say this: that from what I heard, the man that we're talking about, who's not somebody that I don't think most people have ever heard of. He left. He found it very boring, and he left early. He got off the line very early. So I can't speak to it other than that. So he's made up a lot of stories, and I think he's basically bad for the country. But it's a failing venture, very failing venture. They're very upset, and a thing like this is publicity for them. But I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table who's done a great job, we shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
Mr. President, can I follow up on that?
Are you saying you're okay with the continued use of Signal by administration officials
No,
for
that's not what I
sensitive?
said. I said we'll look into it, but everybody else seems to be using it. It seems to be the number one used device or app, whatever you want to call it. And we will certainly look. If it was up to me, everybody would be sitting in a room together. The room would have solid lead walls and a lead ceiling and a lead floor. But, life doesn't always let you do that. In the meantime, the attack itself that we were talking about and discussing has been an unbelievable success.
But you will conduct an investigation, is what you're saying into this.
We'll look into it, sure.
Who's going to lead that investigation?
I want to look
Is that the FBI? Or
anything like that. I would ask them. It's not really an FBI thing. It's really something having to do with security. Security, like, will somebody be able to break in? Are people able to break into conversations? And if that's true, we're going to have to find some other form of of device, and I think that's something that we may have to do. Some people like Signal very much. Other people probably don't. But we'll look into it. I think, Michael, I've asked you to immediately study that and find out. If people are able to break into a system, now in this case it wasn't that this attack was going on and nobody found out anything. And again, the person that was on, as I understand it, he left very early because he didn't find it very exciting. But I think it's something you should look into.
Yes, sir, we are. We have our technical experts looking at it. We have our legal teams looking at it. And of course, we're going to keep everything as secure as possible. No one in your national security team would ever put anyone in danger. And as you said, and we've repeatedly said, the attack was phenomenal and it's ongoing. But the media wants to talk about everything else except for the hostages you're getting out of the Middle East, Iran on its back foot, sea lanes getting reopened, peace in Europe. As we just saw today with a Black Sea ceasefire, we were just on with Steve Witkoff, myself, our team in Saudi Arabia. They want to talk about all this other stuff except for your amazing successes and the successes of your team.
One of the other things, and sometimes you have to move very quickly, and there are other devices that are very good, but they are very, very cumbersome, and you're not able to use them and, from a practical standpoint. So all we can do is find out the best we have with modern technology. They'll probably get better over the years. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, on the Black Sea, so the Kremlin has said that there are several conditions that would need to be met for this agreement to happen. This includes sanction relief for banks and some companies. Did the U.S. agree to all of those conditions that they laid out?
They will be looking at them, and we're thinking about all of them right now. There are about 5 or 6 conditions. We're looking at all of them.
Said that it's looking into how journalists got added to that Signal chat. Is it possible that there could be a firing of even a lower mid-level official once that person is identified?
About what?
About the Signal chat that we've been discussing.
We've pretty much looked into it. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It's not, it's just something that can happen. It can happen. You can even prepare for it. It can happen. Sometimes people are hooked in and you don't know they're hooked in. They're hooked into your line and they don't even mean bad by it. But it's not a perfect technology. There is no perfect technology. The really good ones are very cumbersome, very hard to access. And I think we're going to look at, we always want to use the best technology. This was the best technology for the moment. But again, it wasn't classified, so they probably viewed it as being something that wasn't that important. And it obviously, with the attack being, I mean, I don't know if it's been read out to you yet, but that attack was a tremendous success for the U.S., a tremendous success.
Who said the information was not classified?
Do you think that Mike Waltz may...
You see what's going on here? Mike Waltz was absolutely correct in that. The man just signed. You just watched him. You watched him sign 4 or 5 executive orders and a memorandum. He pardoned Devin Archer. He told him he's going to do away with sanctuary cities. He signed an executive order on election integrity. And no one in the room is asking any questions about the stuff he did. It's all gotcha, 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 gotcha. And the reason why they do it is Caitlin Collins, she's asking these questions so that she can go back tonight on her show at 9 o'clock and then say, here's my show. It's about, blah, 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 blah. And I've got this person. I've got John Bolton on TV. The man just dropped a whole bunch of real news. They're not interested in that. They completely missed it. He's told them a couple times, hey, listen, we had an attack on the Houthis. They went fantastic, no injuries, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't care. I don't care. We don't care about anything that you succeed with. We need to find the most minuscule of mistakes because obviously it didn't hurt anything. If this chat was about the Houthis, it didn't help them. But still, the media, all they want to do is talk about negative stuff about President Trump and the cabinet. That tells me specifically that this was a planned op. It was a way to try and drive a wedge, see if they could collect another scalp out of the cabinet. They did it with Matt Gaetz. They're going for either Pete Hegseth or Mike Waltz here. That's what they're trying to do. I just wanted you to hear that. That's why I didn't step in and wanted you to hear some of these questions. I'm like, nobody? Nobody here cares about the election integrity executive order? Nope. Nobody cares about Devin Archer getting pardoned? Nope. Why? Why is it that none of that stuff matters? Because it's not about helping America and focusing on what's good for America. They are basically corporate assassins. They are coming out there to try and take down somebody, anybody in this Trump administration.
A mistake, and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
Sir, I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
A lot of times you find out defects by exactly things like that, but I don't think it's something we're looking forward to using again. We may be forced to use it. You may be in a situation where you need speed as opposed to gross safety, and you may be forced to use it, but generally speaking, I think we probably won't be using it very much.
Secretary of Defense, on that chain, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, the Vice President, said that the Europeans were freeloading. Do you agree with that assessment?
Do you really want me to answer that? Yeah, I think they've been freeloading. The European Union's been absolutely terrible to us on trade, terrible. And as you know, NATO, I got them to pay hundreds of billions of dollars. They were way behind. And if you look if you look at Ukraine, so we're in for $350 billion because of Biden. Should it never happen, this war? All these dead people should not be dead. All these broken cities that are demolished down to the ground, those gorgeous towers, the most beautiful in the world, the most beautiful spires in the world. The spires in Ukraine were said to be the most beautiful of all. Just about every one of them is lying on its side in a million pieces. It's so sad to see what's happened to a heritage. No, I think that when they say the European Union and you could say NATO also. Look, NATO, and I don't blame NATO for this. I don't blame Europe for this. I blame Biden for the fact that he didn't make them equalize. And to this day, I said to him, you got to catch up, you got to equalize. But why are they in for $100 billion and we're in for possibly $350 billion? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you could say more important for them because we have an ocean in between. So, it's one of those things. You'll be seeing Liberation Day. I call it Liberation Day in America. You're going to be seeing it on April 2nd. Didn't want to do it on April 1st for the obvious reason, April 2nd. But you'll be seeing tariffs. And I think I've been very fair. I have them set. But I think I've been very fair to countries that have really abused us economically for many, many decades.
Mr. President, who told you that information was not classified? Which of your national security advisors?
Just following up on your comments on the economy, there is reporting that consumer confidence fell for the fourth straight month. What is your message to Americans who are concerned about?
Well, I know this, that for the first time in like 50 years, right track, wrong track, we're on the right track. And I think people see that. And if you look at prices are way down. You know, when I first came here, the first time I met with you people officially, they were screaming at me about eggs. I said, I've been here for a week and I'm being yelled at about eggs. Egg prices have come down 45-50% in the last week and a half. And our Secretary of Agriculture has done a great job, as you know, Brooke. She's done a fantastic job, and others working with her have done a great job. But we brought eggs down at a level that nobody thought we could get at. I inherited that situation, and I inherited a grocery situation. The groceries went way up, an old-fashioned word, but it's a very descriptive word. Groceries have gone through the roof. And I used to campaign on it. I used to say, we're going to get groceries down, and we have got it down. I watched a certain newscast over the weekend, and a congressman, Democrat congressman, said, well, Trump's done a lot. I agree. He's been great on the border. He's been great on the military. But, you know, he hasn't brought prices down. That's false. Gasoline's way down. Eggs are way down. Groceries are down very substantially, but down. Almost everything's down. Now, I'd like to see interest rates come down a little bit. And you're going to see billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars coming into our country very soon in the form of tariffs, because we were abused by presidents that, frankly, in all fairness, it wasn't their expertise, but they had no idea what they were doing.
Mr. President, you say tariffs will create more jobs here in America.
Oh,
so
yeah, sure.
Which states?
It'll create a lot of money and more jobs. But if you look, so in the last, these gentlemen would know about it, and ladies, because some of the ladies are great businessmen in this room that are becoming ambassadors. Great, really great, top of the line. When you look at the number of companies that have said, like, we're close to, I would say close to $4 trillion. We never had numbers like that. The number one chip maker in the world from Taiwan coming in with $200 billion. We have Apple. Look at Apple. $500 billion. $500 billion. They're going to build plants all over the United States. They were all being built in China. You have many, many companies, and maybe above all, you have the car companies coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have Honda is opening up one of the biggest plants in the world in Indiana, and many car companies are coming in. We have AI. We're leading China by a lot in AI. And we're going to keep it that way because we've made it very good for them. And we're going to protect them. Once they're here, we'll protect them through taxes, through incentives, and also through tariffs. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I have to say, I have not seen a president hold court the way he does. I mean, that was a 30-minute piece with me talking in between. It was longer, but it was an actually 30-minute piece, not counting when he was talking to the ambassadors. And every single question, he answered, even though he knows what's coming. And a lot of people sometimes say he repeats the same numbers and he talks about, you know why he's doing that? Because he knows the cameras are on him. Some of them are live, some of them will cover it, some people will do like I just did, and he's letting you know over and over. Have you heard about Honda? Have you heard about Apple? Have you heard about the semiconductors? Have you heard about this? He's letting people know, and he's going past the media. I love that he basically shut Caitlin Collins up a couple times. She didn't even want to go after the real story because they can't even report the real story. That's the real big problem with this media. I don't know if some of you guys may have followed a guy called, what was his name? Draw and Strike, I think was what his handle. And now he uses his real name. This is Brian Cates. And he's talking about the same thing we were just seeing, the executive order on election integrity. Love what he wrote here. The bar for them to ever steal another election just got that much higher. We got Trump past the cheaters last November, and do you understand that everything changes now? And I want you guys to understand what you heard tonight does change the game big time. Big time. You're watching the destruction of the old guard. Their counter move to this is going to be what? Well, I can probably guess that one. Their counter move is going to be violence. Well, their first counter move, they're going to run to the court to try and nullify it. But the eventuality is violence. That's all they have. To make any counter moves, they'd have to first steal another presidential election. They failed to steal 2 out of the last 3 presidential elections, and this was despite all of their fraud advantages they spent over 2 decades carefully creating for themselves. Think about how many years and hundreds of billions of dollars and careful arrangements they invested by the time 2024 came around. The one where it was more important than ever that they steal it and to prevent this effing guy from coming back. And how miserably did they fail? And that's their problem because they had nothing to offer. A corpse and a cackling fool. On a scale of 1 to 10, who badly did their job? Who badly did their job? Their very, very expensive and cleverly constructed vote fraud machinery failed them. From what I've seen for the last couple of weeks, we've seen it over years, but I'm pretty sure over the last couple of weeks, what we have seen is they have nothing. And it's all beginning to just crumble around them. You can see him screaming and everything else about this money from USAID and every other agency is just throwing money out there. And it was meant to do nothing but fund the Democrat Party. And now as we're seeing this stuff fall apart, what are they going to do? Because these judges are out there doing the stupidest things. They're going to continue to try and force President Trump to fund these things. He's not going to do it. He literally is going to ignore these orders and make him. They're going to have to make him fund it. And they can't. Now, the Supreme Court, because they've let it go so long, and there's so many of these court cases, everyone has said at this point they can't do it because it would take until 2028 for you to go through all these individual cases. So John Roberts in the Supreme Court, you needed to come out and say it. You can't have injunctions, period. But he hadn't said it, and so Trump's going to have to use Article 2 and Article 3 to actually do something about it. So let me go to the next bit here, because this is important before I take a break. Actually, I could take a break right now, and I'll come back and get some comments and then go further with you on what the response has been. So I'm not going to take a commercial break. I'm just going to take this one.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So just to let you know, that is not a commercial. I'm not being paid for that. That just gives me a break, separate some time, move into the next section. When I do some editing, I can see where that is inserted, so I know I'm in a different section. And it's beautiful. And it's a Trump property. It's Trump Doral. That's down here in Miami. It's just an amazing property. So just wanted to let you know. Somebody said they've played that. It says here, Doral, St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Truant, played them all in my golf simulation business. Okay, got you. Golf simulation. Stay strong, America. The best is yet to come. Yep. J.R. Williams says, I like the transparency exhibited by Trump. Have we ever had a live cabinet meetings like this? If so, I'm not aware of it. Nope, this is like the second or third one. I mean, on top of everything else. Gas near Madison, Wisconsin, $2.76. Free range eggs, $4.76 a dozen. Amazing. Hello, Patty. Happy anniversary. 49 years. Wow, wow, wow. Happy anniversary. So I want to go back to something that he was referring to, and I saw a number of people, which I was very surprised. There were a number of people in the chat who didn't know what Crossfire Hurricane is. So I know for a fact, if you don't know what Crossfire Hurricane is, you're new to the MAGA movement. You are new to everything. Crossfire Hurricane was what Jim Comey and everybody did to Donald Trump in the first administration to try and take him. That's what was the basis for the impeachment and everything else. So a guy I had on the show about a month ago, Kyle Seraphin, an ex-FBI agent, an FBI whistleblower, he was on with Alex Jones, and he explained a little bit as to what Crossfire Hurricane really was.
You got the floor. What else you want to cover?
Let's talk about Crossfire Hurricane, and one of the things that is the
recap what that is.
Okay, Crossfire Hurricane is the national security investigation into Donald Trump's campaign and eventually bled into his actual term as president. This led to a bunch of different people inside the FBI being removed. There's some settlements afterwards, and they were made whole. Even guys who did the wrong thing, who lied to their own agency,
it's an attempted FBI deep state Democrat coup against Trump.
I will co-sign on that. Yeah, that's correct. So the crazy thing is this: that was all possible. At least it was more possible because of what happened in October of 2016 and the last year of the Obama administration. Biden was obviously the VP at that time. They updated a executive order that was 12333. And if anybody keeps track of national security stuff, you guys know that 12333 is the authorizing executive order that gives the NSA the ability to do domestic collection, which means they can go out there and grab information from the telephone records, they can grab content from your text messages, and so on and so forth.
Now, what he's about to tell you, I'm just going to tell you this right now. What he's about to tell you is probably going to freak a lot of you out. Many of us who were, deep into the whole movement back then, and some of us that followed the post from the, that guy, the 17th letter of the alphabet, we were seeing this stuff, and we're like, this can't be possible. This can't be happening in our country. And now, fast forward 8 years, and we're finding out, yeah, it was possible. They actually were doing it. The level of spying done on Americans, remember, this was a guy who was president. This guy was president. They want to destroy your life. It's child's play. Listen how Kyle explains what they can do right now. And this was back then.
Touches American wires, our intelligence service have at least the ability, and sometimes they actually have the purview to go out and grab it. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you that it does. Obama changed the game there. And what he did is something that had never been done before. And I actually think it was probably a hedge because they thought Hillary was going to win, and they were giving Hillary even more powerful apparatus within sort of the intelligence apparatus of the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, and so on, this sort of big conglomerate of intel agencies. What I think was going on there, they updated and allowed the FBI for the first time to have access to what's called raw FISA. Alex, raw FISA? That's like looking in your email box. That's like me opening up your email and reading your spam and finding out who's sending it to you. It's like me opening up your text messages and seeing who's involved in that if you don't have encrypted text. It's me seeing who's in your missed calls and who's in your phone calls. There's an entire software program that's called DWS, or the Data Warehouse System. And prior to October of 2016, and you guys can even find it, Wired Magazine reported on at the time, Wired Magazine is pretty good and hard to the left, but they also tend to care about civil liberties when it comes to things that are in the tech sphere. And they were alerted by this. They said, this is real problematic. And then, of course, Donald Trump won. It didn't mean that suddenly Donald Trump had access to these tools. What it meant is that the FBI, the NSA, and so on, they now had this open door sharing where when I went to go work for the Bureau in November of 2016, my first day on the job in December of 2016, I got assigned cases, got access to DWS, this data warehouse system, and I could literally search names of Americans, and they weren't masked. They weren't what we call minimized. They were unredacted, me going through a warehouse of NSA collections, and I didn't need a warrant.
How you feel about that? How you feel about the fact that your government was set up for Hillary Clinton to win? They had put all these things in place where she was going to be able to do anything she wanted. She would be able to destroy her opponents. She would be able to look at every single person without a warrant. Think about it. You walk around with one of these. And as of right now, the FBI can look at everything on your phone. Everything. They can look at every email. They can look at your web search history. They probably can tie in and see what you're watching on television. It plugs into a wall. It's a computer. They obviously can see where you're going and what you're doing in terms of online. This was all set up for Hillary Clinton. That's the part I wanted you really to sink in. They had set things up where she was going to walk in and she was going to be the deep state queen and do anything they wanted until Trump got in the way. And then they had to scramble like, oh crap, now he's going to have the keys to this. We've got to destroy him. And the problem back then is President Trump didn't have the group of people around him he did right now. You've heard James Comey say, yeah, we knew he was green. We knew, so we just sent somebody in and set him up. You see, the one person who knew all about this stuff, the one person who could tell Trump, don't open that door. Ooh, watch out what's behind door number 2 here. The one person was the first person they went after. You remember who that was? General Michael Flynn. They're like, Trump won. He's buddy-buddy with Mike Flynn. We got to cut that. We got to cut that real quick. Because that's the guy who knows where everything is. That's the guy who's going to be able to go in and pull this and pull that and show Trump everything. And we need to surround him with people who he thinks are good for him. Jeff Sessions. Boy, did he trick everybody. Bill Barr. James Comey. Christopher Wray. He had no chance. He had no chance. He didn't even know where the bodies were buried. He didn't even know his way around. And these people were just using everything they possibly can. They probably knew when he took a poop before he took a poop. And they used it all, and their idea was for Hillary to get in, and now that he won, now we got to get him out. And then came 2020. And all that same stuff, they're like, okay, we're going to have USAID send money here, do money there. We're going to get, Zuckerberg to put $400 million in and put these fake drop boxes. And then we're going to launch this thing, this worldwide fungus, if you will, and tell everybody you can't go to work, you can't go to church, you can't do anything. And every time you step out your house, you got to do this. You gotta... And we were screwed. They knew they had to activate every one of their deep recess ideas and say, do this, shut it down. I mean, think about it. You shut the entirety of the economic system that rules the world. You shut it down in order to get rid of this guy. And then you convinced everybody, stay 6 feet apart. Oh, yeah, stay 6 feet. Oh, I used to love this one. Robin and I we were watching an older show, and we were laughing. Remember going into a restaurant when they let you go into a restaurant, if your state even let you go to a restaurant? And they said this one. Remember this one? Even on airplanes. Keep your mask on, except when you eat. Yeah, how you doing today? Yeah, hey Bob, how's work? How's it? Hold on. Oh yeah, so yeah. And you had to, as a grown-ass person, you had to wonder, man, that's the most intelligent disease I ever saw. It pauses when you're biting. It pauses. And when you're drinking something, it knows, hey, don't mess with his nasal cavities right now. He's drinking something. You have to know that. And then you're on an airplane in a tin can with 300 other people, and half of them are... But don't worry, as long as you kept your mask on, it's okay. And then people walking around with face shields. And then you see videos where they're talking amongst themselves, and then when the camera comes on, hey, so today here's what we're going to be talking about. But I just saw you didn't have your mask on. And the FBI and the CDC and every other three-letter agency all worked cohesively to take Trump out. That's Crossfire Hurricane. And so now he's about to release all that information. And you're going to find out not just the three-letter agencies. You are going to find out what the media was doing. You're going to find out what sports leagues were doing. You're going to find out what certain businesses were doing. You're definitely going to find out what the government was doing. This thing is going to be really, really bad. But you're going to have to dig for the information, because you heard today at that press conference, nobody. Don't ask any questions about Crossfire Hurricane. Shh, don't. And so now all that information is in the hands of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and some other people. And already today, Alina Habba, she got named the U.S. attorney up in New Jersey, and she came out and said, if y'all did something wrong, you're going to jail. So just imagine how bad this animal is going to fight now. This animal called the deep state, this animal called the Democrats, which may be all the same, and some Republicans. Notice how quiet some Republicans have been? I mean, it's conspicuous, right? I mean, you see people like Lindsey. Where's Lindsey Graham? Where's Susan Collins? Susan Collins was supposed to be at a hearing today, and she, I'm sick, I can't go. Oh, what? Where are they all at? Where are all the Republicans? Only people I keep seeing fighting are, I see Mike Lee, I see Mark Wayne Mullen, I see obviously MTG, Nancy Mace. I see some of them in the trenches saying, this is it, we're going to grab the gusto. And then the rest of them, you don't see them. Why are these judges doing what they're doing? They should be tearing them apart. They're not doing it. Why? Why not? Why aren't the Republicans who are in charge of the Senate and the House out there doing something about these judges? Finally today, Mike Johnson says this, which is really interesting.
It's getting pretty ugly. House Speaker Mike Johnson issuing an open threat now, saying that Congress has authority to stop providing funding to federal courts. Listen to what the Speaker said just a little while ago.
We do have authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have power funding over the courts and all these other things. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act. So stay tuned for that.
All right, Jay, let's get right to it. This is all centered around the Alien Enemies Act and whether deportations fall under the president's Article 2 powers. So what's the reaction?
You notice how she called it a threat. They picked their words very intentionally, letting people know it's a threat that now all of a sudden Mike Johnson may use his constitutional powers. Remember, it's about a constitutional crisis. Now he wants to use some constitutional, powers, and they're wigging out. It's a threat. No, that's what we can do. Deal with it.
In Congress now to what the Speaker just said today.
Well, there are Republicans up here on the Hill, Kira, who want Johnson, frankly, to go further and support impeaching judges who politically have shown that they, or not politically rather, but legally show that they disagree with the administration. The accusation from the administration is that these judges are acting politically, but these judges and other judges all the way up to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court have said that these judges are acting within their constitutionally appropriate powers of passing judgment upon what the executive branch does and either delaying it from going into effect with restraining orders and things of the like. But what
you recognize this propaganda that their ABC is trying to tell everybody? Republicans wrong. Anybody who challenges the judges, they're wrong. The crazy judges are correct. Let me show you a ruling that came out this afternoon so you can see just how bat poop crazy these people are. I mean, absolute crazy. And why something needs to be done. Well, breaking. A federal judge has ruled against Kari Lake and the Trump administration, forcing them to continue funding propaganda radio stations in Europe. Nick Sorter says, how is this real? Kari Lake, obviously part of the entirety of the Voice of America takedown, and she's decided, and the Trump administration decided, we're not going to fund radio stations in Europe. And a judge here in the United States told the President of the United States, you can't stop funding radio stations in Europe. It's right there. You must continue sending your money to a Europe group of radio stations. How in the hell are they justifying this? The news wants to say these people are acting under the color of the law. How is it okay that you're telling an American president that he has to keep funding Europe? But, listening to ABC, it's the Republicans that are causing the problem.
Republicans here on Capitol Hill have done is said they want to impeach those judges that they believe are impeding the president's will and action here. Johnson has not supported that publicly. This is as far as he's gone, saying that Congress has the power of the purse. They can control what districts are allocated in which way, the funding and how these district courts are drawn and things of that nature. So this is some of the administration wants Johnson to do to try to set up this clash between Congress, the executive branch, and the courts. But he's not going as far as some Republicans, including Elon Musk, by the way, have pushed for, which is this swift impeachment of various judges that this administration views as a problem, Kieran.
Let me show you, in case you needed more proof, how crazy this is. The judge who said you have to keep funding Europe, that you have to keep giving these radio stations money, I want you to look at the justification that he or she, whatever judge it was, said. And I quote, "The leadership of USAGM cannot, with one sentence of reasoning, offering virtually no explanation, force Radio Free Europe to shut down, even if the president has told them to do so." You can't do it with one sentence. Well, they got it right. 3 sentences? Again, you can look at this yourself. The leadership of USAGM cannot, comma, with one sentence, with no real explanations. How's this for an explanation? We don't want to. You got to explain to Radio Free Europe why we're cutting off the money. I didn't know we had... Dear Radio Free Europe, please understand, we can't afford this anymore. Will you allow us to not stop sending money over here? Oh, no. No, maybe you need to add a couple more sentences. I've read a lot of court decisions. I have never seen a judge say you can't do it with just one sentence. And if you weren't looking at this and I said it to you, you wouldn't believe me. Hey, you can't do it with one sentence with no explanation. Oh, what is wrong with our government? Hey, honey, fire the exterminator. I don't want to use him anymore. Hey, that's it. We're done. Okay? Cancel it. Hey, honey, we don't want to use this long guy anymore. Go ahead. Bye. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do it with just one sentence? How many sentences would have been okay? What? Dear Your Honor, we didn't know you were involved in this. We just said we're canceling it. Yeah, that's not good enough. Yeah. It makes you cry. I got to take some comments. I'm like, you guys... So, where was that comment? It's too funny. Somebody goes, is this a movie? Is this a movie? Oh, my goodness. Oh, don't tell me this. Somebody goes, possible tornado west of Palm Beach. Well, you guys know if I go blip again, what happened? Oh, my goodness. No, not more. I love that comment. Is this a movie? Are you punking me? Alan Funk or one of these guys going to come out and get, got you, didn't we? Why should we have to support other countries' radio stations? I wish I could answer. Maybe because he didn't give enough sentences. He didn't give a sentence and he didn't give a reason. I don't want to. How about that? I don't want to spend $100 gazillion. Wait until the thing comes with the Australian. I guarantee you, some judge is going to say you got to keep spending $600 million on Australian university. Oh, that's coming. That's coming. Oh man, it's the Hamilton play. This is absolutely ridiculous. So he goes, this is a movie that is way too real here. Mm-hmm. Yep, and we are all in it. You're so right, Beth. You know, sometimes when I prep for these shows and I start putting things together, I'm like, I got to show it, because if I don't show it, no one's going to believe me. If I say that we got to keep funding Europe because I said so, basically, that was basically what the guy's ruling was. I said so. You got to keep doing it because I said, well, if I said so is good enough for you, how come I said so is not good enough for us? That's what I would go back and do the appeal. Hey man, you put a one sentence thing here and said one sentence isn't good enough, but you killed it with one sentence, didn't you? There's only one way to deal with insanity. I was just, they are so predictable. Oh man, I feel like it's a dream. Rather, it's a nightmare, Kelly. It's a nightmare you can't wake up. And you know, and somebody wrote, Charles Lacey, impeachment doesn't do anything. Impeachment is ceremonial. Impeachment is everybody walking in, and it's never going to work. No, these judges aren't going anywhere. You need 60-something votes. It ain't ever going to happen. And it's absolutely. Somebody actually wrote here, Dan Rogers, great comment. And none of this would we ever have known if not for Donald Trump. You wouldn't know. Just imagine, you would just keep going on and thinking our debt is trillions and trillions, and we can't make ends meet, so we have to pay more taxes. And now we're seeing this is a travesty. You've destroyed our government. They are holding on with every vestige. They plant these judges in place. It makes no sense. And I again, even to other Democrats who aren't the Looney Toonies, who are in the Democrat Party, have to believe at this point, that this is crazy. Because what about if you're a Democrat? You've just been voting Democrat all your life, but yet you have a business, you have a family, you have a house. You don't have the nose piercings and all this stuff. You're leading a regular life. You've been paying your taxes. Are you telling me those people are okay with what they're seeing? Wait a minute, you're taking 20, 30, 40, 50% of my income and you're doing this with it? I may have been okay with the blue bus taking babies. I might have been okay even with, paying certain agencies. But now you're telling me I have to pay Radio Free Europe? Change the name. It's no longer Radio Free Europe. It's costing me. It should be John's radio station. I'm paying for it. It's not Radio Free Europe. You guys are landmines of sabotage. This stuff is beyond stupid. It's to the point now where you're seeing it for the first time and it's just becoming visible. And I think it's starting to sink into a lot of people that not a shot's been fired yet, but we're definitely in a civil war. When I first said it, a lot of people said, "Oh, Barry, you're being hyperbolic, you're a drama queen." And every succeeding day, I'm like, still think that? See, no one's shooting at you, but you don't think you're in a war at this point? A war for your soul, a war for your pocket. I mean, your mind. You're being lied to, you're being stolen from, your kids are being indoctrinated, and you don't think it's a civil war? Then you need to go back and listen to what Yako was saying today in our interview. Because there is definitely a war going on. And you need to get up in the morning and if you pray, be a praying person, put on the armor of God, because this is sheer evil. 600 million to Australian universities, hundreds of millions to Radio Free Europe. And we're not even talking the other stuff yet. And 350 billion to some idiot over in Ukraine who doesn't want to stop seeing his people destroyed. It's never going to end. And that's why we're seeing some of the stuff that we're seeing right now. It's why we're seeing different kind of businesses with a resurgence. Let me see something. People got mad at me the other day. I just want to see what the stock price of Tesla is now. Wow. I'm not gonna. Well, yeah, I'm gonna show you because you need to see this. Because the media, and the reason why I show this stuff is because the media won't show it to you. The media at this point is lying to you so much. They keep saying that, Tesla was going down the drain and everything else. And I've got the five-day price there. It's up 24.5% in the last 5 days. 24.5%. But you wouldn't know this from what you're seeing in the media. And you wouldn't see it and wouldn't understand what's going on with the gold market. It's absolutely stunning. I see what's getting ready to happen down here in real estate. I see what's going on, in other businesses. And I'm watching people begin to prosper again. And you would know it. You would know it from watching television. They ignore it. They don't want to tell anybody. After everything happened today and everything went down and I was freaking out. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I am going to go now and invest in a studio. That's it. I can't be, I got to have redundancies. I got to make sure that if I'm on, it just doesn't go poof. I can't have this. You know, Mother Nature, you can't really, she's undefeated. Mother Nature is definitely undefeated, but I got to do everything I can to make sure I'm not defeated. And I'm just urging all of you who possibly can to, you know, think about what you can do. And one of those things that I advise, if you can, even if it's in small denominations, is invest in gold and silver. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. All right. So I want to take a few comments. Martha D. Wolf has a great comment here. It says, Barry, it all makes perfect sense when you understand that the goal was to bankrupt us all and force us to own nothing and eat bugs and see the world population reduced by 4/5. Remember, if you ever have a doubt, they were actually promoting the WEF and Klaus Schwab. You'll own nothing and be happy. You can actually go ahead and Google that. Own nothing and be happy. And you'll see their commercial. You'll own nothing and be happy. You'll eat the bugs and sleep in the pods. It was going to be the real life Matrix. I have no doubt that's where they were going. I have no doubt that they were looking to take as much money from you and take your property from you. I saw what some of the stuff Biden wanted to do in real estate. They wanted to devalue certain neighborhoods so that other people from other countries could live here. It was crazy. Let me see. Where's this? My congressman called me today because I wrote him saying bring back the Smith-Mundt Act. Yep. Okay. What did he say when you told him that? I've invested. Somebody goes, I see a lot of Teslas on the golf course. We're going to talk about Teslas right now because there's something we need to discuss. And so let me get to that piece. I don't want to keep you guys here too long. I'm trying to keep my pacing better. I want to talk about this congresswoman from Dallas, Texas. She needs no introduction, but nonetheless,
Jasmine Crockett has the moves to fix America.
Y'all about to find out.
She is definitely on the side of the American people.
I'm rooting for Canada. I'm rooting for Mexico a lot. Black folk not have to pay taxes. I don't know if that's not necessarily a bad idea. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up.
We all know Jasmine Crockett is a fighter.
Chairman, if I come and talk shit about her, y'all gonna have a problem. We are gonna be on your ass.
Her consistency is unmatched.
Now it looks like a little bit over a year ago. And boo, let me just be real. And we ain't gonna sit for that.
Jasmine is always bringing the facts.
Let me make sure y'all got the facts. Most extreme crimes that take place are committed by white supremacists. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. Stop being Putin's hoe. We're gonna make sure you understand what democracy looks like.
Jasmine Crockett, the leader we probably don't need.
Get it, Jazz?
I am.
When I saw that, and I'm like, did you hear? That wasn't dubbed. It wasn't AI. It's not a crime to come here illegally. Oh. Shut up. It's not a crime. Do you know what the words are you just said that came out your mouth? You're too busy flipping your hair and trying to keep these things off your face. Did you hear what you said? It's not a crime to come here illegally. And I'm sure there were Democrats in the audience who were just like, tell him, girl. Meanwhile, most of America's like, oh my God, you people in Dallas elected this? This is who you elected? What was wrong with you? What were you thinking? Were you bribed? Was this voter fraud? Did she steal an election? How in the hell did the people of Texas put this woman in office? Now, after the week she's had, maybe her opponent can finally do something, who we're going to be interviewing next week. We got some questions for him, too. But, man, Dallas, you're not sending us your best. Here's what she said recently.
Truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes. Listen, I have learned as I serve on the Doge Oversight Committee that there is...
But by the way, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett and the rest of the Oversight Committee and Doge Oversight Committee, they're going to be holding a hearing. So I'm probably going to go live at 10 o'clock. I'll cover the hearing. I'm probably just going to let it play while I'm planning my show in the background. But tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Doge Oversight Committee, which unfortunately this woman is on.
Only one language that the people that are in charge understand right now. And that language is money.
And Jesse Martinez hits the highway in his Tesla Model S.
Oh, it drives fantastic. Yeah, it's my first.
But now it feels risky to drive. Investigators say someone shot out his driver's side window with a BB gun as he drove through the town of Zebulon late Sunday night.
We have a family, we got kids, so who knows if that would have gone through and I was driving with my kids or, it would have hit my buddy or something.
Vandalism and threats against the electric car brand continue to rise throughout the country. Authorities
So, as you heard her, the one thing she wants for her birthday is for people to take down Tesla. I just showed you the stock price. That didn't work. They're shooting people while they're driving. That ain't working. These are people who tried to buy a car because of what you had sold them. You told them, hey, be good stewards of the, climate. And now you're shooting at them. And you don't even understand, while you're keying these cars and doing this stuff, this guy, he already paid for it. Elon Musk already has his money. And so it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Cracking down on public backlash against Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his involvement with the Trump administration. FBI Director Kash Patel calls the acts of vandalism domestic terrorism, adding those responsible will be pursued, caught, and brought to justice. In southern Wake County, Tesla owner Jeremy found the words Nazi carved in his vehicle. He purchased his Tesla in 2019 and says he's unfairly targeted.
Driving around previously, I've had folks roll call on me or give me the middle finger or things like that, cut me off, pretty aggressively on purpose.
Pay attention. Just pay attention to your surroundings. Be careful. Unfortunately, we're just in a crazy time at the moment.
Is this the America you want to live in? This is what the Democrats are doing. This is what they're promulgating. They are causing every bit of this. They are making people who did nothing wrong, except now they're driving a car they bought some time ago, and it happens to have the label of somebody you think's a Nazi. And so you're out there losing your mind on an inanimate object, costing probably Democrat owners money. These are people who more than likely are on your team. These were the people who bought into the climate nonsense to begin with and bought electric cars. And you're keying them and calling them Nazis and shooting at them. You can chalk this up as yet another reason why the Democrats probably won't win another election anytime soon. You're shooting at your own voters. And to this day, before I got on the show, not a single Democrat, not one, has said, you know what, you guys need to calm down. You guys need to back off. We just can't keep doing this. This isn't right. You can't just key people's cars and throw up on them and stab the tires out and shoot BB guns. And this is like infantile psychopathic actions. You people are nuts. And again, you've got credible Democrats who are looking at this and going, I don't want nothing to do with this. And Jasmine Crockett is one of the main people throwing flame on the fire. I see in the comments often, why am I giving her any air? Because now she is now a person that needs to go to jail with what I'm going to show you. I feel at this point, we're going to find out exactly if there's a two-tiered system of justice. We've seen it, but now you just saw it up close and personal. Wait till you see what I show you.
A warning from one Tesla driver to another as the electric vehicle brand becomes the subject of political violence.
Because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
She's having a great week. She called for Tesla violence, and now she calls a man that's disabled Governor Hot Wheels, Greg Abbott, in a wheelchair. I thought this was the tolerant party. I thought, you weren't supposed to shame people. There are many Democrats in wheelchairs, and she just called him Governor Hot Wheels. And they laughed. See, that to me, that's the worst part. I can understand if you're a freaking idiot. I can't help you. But now you're telling me you have an audience of freaking idiots. That's disgusting. This man is in a wheelchair. He cannot walk. And you're calling him Governor Hot Wheels. And you think it's funny.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
She needs to get a better wig, because she's always doing this. I've known a lot of white women in my day, and I ain't seen a whole lot of them doing this like 4 times in a minute. Comb your damn hair, or rather, comb your damn wig. Pin it back. Do what you need to do so you ain't got to keep doing all this stuff and all that. But now, here comes evidence, Exhibit 4. So today, Laura Loomer had one of her reporters go down and as they do, put the microphone or the cell phone up and ask her a question. There's two things I want you to see in this video. Two things. Hold on, let me see if I can freeze it real quick.
Hello.
Okay, I didn't get it quick enough, so I may have to. Let me go ahead and rewind it. So, there's something I want to point out to you in here. Some of you guys may have seen it, but I just want to show you something. Okay. Ooh, too far. And hold on, let me play it. All right. You see that guy in the brown jacket? As you're hearing this, many of you know what's about to happen. But the guy in the brown jacket is one of the biggest conservatives on Capitol Hill. Guy we have interviewed, I think, 1 or 2 times on this show. That's Tim Burchett. And Laura Loomer pointed out, why is Tim Burchett all chummy with this ghetto rat? It's very odd. I'm not going to convict Congressman Burchett, but that's just something else to watch in this video. Okay, I'm going to play this. I'm not going to stop it. I want you to see what happens.
Hello, Congresswoman.
Horse manure. Well, that sounds like fun.
Wait, Congresswoman Crockett.
But it sounds...
Congresswoman Crockett, you were recently on a Tesla takedown call calling for violence on the 29th.
To be here, right?
Would you like to clarify your comments?
Good luck. As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the Tesla?
So, many of you know you cannot reach out and touch somebody and touch their property and do what you want and just think it's okay. She doesn't care. She's untouchable as far as she's concerned. She thinks that she can actually assault somebody. That was Laura Loomer's person. You can see the logo here real quick. This is him. This is the guy right here. That's her reporter. And she reached out, physically assaulted this man in the halls of Congress. I didn't see Tim Burchett post anything about it. Okay. I know a lot of people have some questions about this and saying, hey, why didn't you say something about this? Listen to the young gentleman here.
It is disgusting that a member of Congress, much less a well-known member of Congress like Jasmine Crockett, chose to assault me after I asked her if she would condemn violence at Tesla showrooms. It has become clear that elected Democrats and their never anti-Trump protesters seem to be embracing violence, and that is disgusting. Any elected Democrat appalled like I am by the left's new tactics has an obligation to speak out against Representative Crockett and those causing violence at Tesla. They have an obligation. Republicans in the House have an obligation now to censure Representative Crockett. This behavior in this building behind me cannot go on. The halls of Congress are meant for debate, not physical violence. Shame on Jasmine Crockett and shame on congressional Democrats.
Yeah, as of right now, I don't believe any Democrat has said anything about her great week thus far. And it's Tuesday. So she's got a lot more time to screw up some more, which she is doing. Excuse me. Oh, man. So I wanted to show you this. So she decides that she wants to, try and she realizes she overstepped here. I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable. This is supposed to be your mea culpa? This is supposed to make people feel you're not an idiot? Literally, the next line I said was that he was a hot-ass mess, referencing his terrible policies. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition. So I'm even more appalled. Now she's mad. I'm more appalled that the very people who unequivocally support Trump, a man known for racially insensitive nicknames and mocking those with disabilities, are now outraged. She continues. Keep that same energy for all people, not just your political adversaries. Finally, This is yet another distraction. Instead of obsessing over and hanging on my every word, maybe my political foes should focus on doing the work of the people who elected us to improve their lives. I said it. These people are psychopaths. They don't even know how to apologize. And somehow what came out of her mouth was Trump's fault. Y'all need to be talking about him. He didn't want to be talking about people and everything else, okay? I was talking about plane, trains, and automobiles. Texas, you gotta throw this woman out. I mean, you have got to throw this woman out on her ass. So Charles Downs, who is the guy who she accosted, said, I just left the Capitol Police headquarters in D.C. where I filed a police report against Congressman Jasmine Crockett for assault, battery, and attempted theft of my cell phone, simply because I respectfully asked her to condemn the violence she has been inciting at Tesla showrooms. This is where we're devolving to, where not only is violence okay, it's advocated. Do whatever you need to do to these Republicans. Do whatever you need to do to MAGA. Elon Musk, hit him in the pocket. Do whatever you need to do. We don't care. We're Democrats. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Let me pull that back. It's absolutely believable. This is who they are. Don't let them change and pretend that it's not. Now, there's a lot of people out here saying assault charges have been filed. I cannot verify that the assault charges, well, I guess if the guy swore out a complaint, but I don't know if an arrest warrant was actually issued or anything. We'll find that out very, very soon. But in any event, something's got to happen. I mean, we just can't go on with this stuff where these people can do this kind of stuff with complete impunity. I hope you guys agree. I mean, I wouldn't want that for someone. Put it this way. If anybody did what she did at a company you work at, they get fired. There is no way in any company I've ever worked in, if you accost a customer or another employee, would you keep your job? There's a line. It's almost forced firing at that point. If you cross the line and accost a fellow employee, a customer, you're done. you are done. Man, what the heck is wrong with all the Republicans in the House and Senate? People letting this stuff go on right away. I can't believe it is. I can't believe this is something that they have to consider censure. And maybe should we censure her? You should have already done it. You should. How many times? She called, what is it, Hot Wheels. Governor Abbott, a handicapped, disabled person, you called them Hot Wheels. This is why, Barry, we think alike. Yeah. Yes, Tommy, that's what I keep saying. This is all they have. Yeah, she knows what she's doing. She did it with a smile on her face. She knew exactly what was going to happen. So I want to let you guys know, in 9 minutes, I just got a notification. I will cover it. I could get into my 10 spot, but I don't know if I have time. But in 10 minutes, Donald Trump is going to be doing a live interview on Newsmax, which I will cover as long as Newsmax allows me to. I will bring that on as soon as he comes on. So in the interim, let me see if I can try to get through my part of the show. Or should I start this now? Because I got 10 minutes. All right, here's 10 minutes. Let me jump into this, and let's see how far we can get. All right, here we go.
Here's the 10 spot. 10 stories that you just gotta hear. Number 10.
let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Marist, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Marist has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country is on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track.
So the Democrats see these numbers. And they have to realize at this point, as they're watching these numbers, that's why I keep saying it. You got nothing. You better hope the judges keep saying we need to spend billions to radio-free Europe, because your politicians have nothing to offer Americans, and Americans know it at this point. And every succeeding day, Trump's approval rating gets better and better. You can't stop what's coming. You can't stop prosperity because people feel it. So you can lie about all this other stuff. Oh, he's racist. There's a Nazi. He's a fascist. Well, save me money on my groceries. Save me money on my eggs. Save me money here and there. Newcomers are leaving. Yeah, I think I like this. That is obviously the right track, and that's what people are applauding. That's what they want. The Democrats are fighting against what people want. Just think about that. That is a losing proposition. Crazy.
9. Should Judge Boasberg at this moment step aside from this case?
Yeah, he may be too late to save him, his career, but he definitely should step aside now. The biggest problem that you have is that somebody like this doesn't appreciate that he might have an unusual bias against litigants that are going to come before him. And it isn't like he doesn't know that, right? I mean, he knows that they're coming up. And so that's when he should have stepped aside. He should step aside now, of course, but we're down the road quite a good ways here with him.
Yeah. See, the problem is not only did he not step aside, he stepped in it. I told you guys yesterday, he wasn't even on the docket. These judges have a revolving calendar. It's almost like who stands watch tonight, that type of thing. And the person that was supposed to who caught this case, the person who was online for that Monday or Tuesday, whenever they came in with this motion for the TRO, it wasn't Judge Boasberger. It was somebody else. He reached in and took it, doing his duty. He knew it was coming. They told him it was coming. He went in on a Saturday and said, let me pluck this. I have it now. So, no, he's not going to be able to save his career, but at the same time, stop trying to appease him with talks about impeachment and Mike Johnson has the way. You got to defund these district courts. And meanwhile, President Trump, just keep going. That's the answer.
Number 8.
Responsible here and not.
All right. This is the guy who caused all the problem with the signal stuff. And he was like, I got state secrets. I got war secrets. They told me all this stuff. I want you to listen to him here. He's gonna sing a completely different song.
Disclose the things that I read and saw. I will describe them to you. The specific time of a future attack, specific targets, including human targets, meant to be killed in that attack, weapons systems, even weather reports, or that the government is I don't know why Hegseth was sharing it with everybody. I mean, the precise detail, and then a long section on sequencing. This is going to happen, then that is going to happen. After that happens, this happens, then that happens, and then we go and find out if it worked. I mean, he can say that it wasn't a war plan, but It was a minute by minute accounting of what was about to happen. Organized.
Number 7.
You see, he's couching his words as he's trying to relay this to Jen Psaki. It's her job to try and pull out as much information from him as she possibly can. And what he's describing could be any one of any other documents that he supposedly saw. And this is the same guy who fostered other hoaxes and everything else. He's not realizing that this very well could have been a bit of cheese that was given to him. And now he knows he may have been had.
How does an American benefit when we invest in the stability of women and girls around the world?
Of course, there's the moral obligation, and that's one that 89% of Americans support.
So this is PayPal, whatever her name is, and she's having some. This isn't my video. This was the video that how it was. They did some funky split screen stuff here, but she's trying to elicit from people. Tell these rubes here how America benefits by us funding things around the world. Okay.
That's Republicans and Democrats alike. But there's also the benefits that we have. Having a stable economy that can interact with other stable economies. We have less likelihood of COVID. We have less likelihood of 9/11 circumstances. We have a series of individuals who have worked with us overseas who are now feeling betrayed, who have dedicated their work to the American allies and are now seeing their communities be destroyed. That will have generational negative impacts on Americans.
So when we invest in the stability of communities around the world, including women and girls, we invest in the stability of those countries, we invest in the ability for those countries to take care of themselves.
Told you that wasn't the best of video, but you can hear what she's saying. She's trying to convince you if we give these people money, they won't shoot us. That's what the Democrats are saying to Americans right now. If we go ahead and make sure that these people can eat, and we make sure that they're pacified, keep them, pat them on the head, pat them on the butt, be on their way, then they won't kill us. That's their motivation. Or at least that's what they're trying to tell people. What a crock. What an absolute crock.
6.
And so why do they want to gut education? Because a less educated...
You're going to love this one. This is Sonny from The View, and this is Don Lemon, as Tucker Carlson used to call him. Wait till you hear this nonsense.
America is a permanent working underclass. You can pay those people a lot less. You can make a lot more that way.
And control them.
And you can control them. And that's why when you look at the stats, and I got some flack for saying college-educated people voted in vast numbers for Democrats, whereas non-college educated people voted for Republicans. Well, we're seeing that come to pass, right? Mm-hmm. Those that are non-college educated are it's the reason why Trump said, I like the highly uneducated. I'm loosely quoting that, but he wants
the poorly educated.
I like the poorly educated because the more educated you are, the more critical thinking skills you may have. I'm not talking about self-educated people who read. I'm just talking about people our public school system is failing them. Those are the people that are going to be harmed the most. Most. If Democrats were really, really smart, they would really figure out a way to provide free college education for everyone. That's what Joe Biden was trying to do. That's why he wanted to get rid of that student debt, because the more educated your country is, the more you understand what is at stake in terms of your vote.
So I should have put subtitles under that, because you Trump supporters are stupid. You're rubes. You don't understand anything. You're dumb. These people live in these glass towers and live a life in these, these, what would you say, glass houses where they just look down on the little people. Excuse me, you stupid conservative. If you knew any better, you wouldn't be conservative. I'm embarrassed for both of them. I would never presume to tell somebody you're only a Republican or MAGA because you're too stupid to realize the difference.
Number 5.
Dozens of lawsuits against the Trump administration policies, a lot of the moves by DOJ, obviously on deportations. But we're also seeing the Trump administration now go after law firms and really escalating its attacks on law firms and lawyers, individual lawyers. What do you see as the consequences of that?
Huge, right? So when we think about what the legal system is here to provide and who provides it, yes, judges are key. And that's why the Trump administration and its allies are focused so much of their anger against Judge James Boasberg, for example, who's involved in this Alien Enemies Act case involving the deportation of Venezuelan migrants. But it takes two to tango, so to speak, right? And if lawyers...
They can't even call them what they are. She didn't say Venezuelan gang members because she doesn't want to upset the MSNBC audience. So Trump is he's attacking these judges who are protecting these innocent migrants. Man, these people are such good actors.
Lawyers don't bring the cases that constitute the pushback against Trump administration policies, then there is nothing for judges to do. Judges decide cases and controversies that are put before them. They don't invent those cases. And so the legal system and its ability to constitute a sort of resistance against this administration's unlawful policies, the law firms are essential here. That order we were just talking about probationary employees, who are the first lawyers to sign that? A bunch of law firm lawyers in San Francisco who are...
You just answered your own question. Why would I want to pay and develop an army of orcs who are going to do nothing but try to destroy Trump and the Republicans? You just answered that specifically. These people are bred. They're brought in to be a part of the Democrat, quote, as she said, the resistance. Well, what do you do with the resistance? You squash it. I don't think sometimes these people actually think out the words that they're saying on television. Because if they did, you would realize why he's targeting these law firms. These law firms are your foot soldiers. These, you ain't normalizing. I'm going to sue them every chance I get. That's all they do. They live to sue him. So, of course, he wants to take them down.
Acting on behalf of Norm Eisen's group, States Democracy Fund. The impact litigators themselves, like the ACLU, Democracy Forward, Norm Eisen's group, they all partner with law firms. So if the law firms are scared and they are intimidated into not bringing those cases, there won't be any pushback on
a... You just answered your own question. Anybody who's involved in any kind of warfare, lawfare, football, you want to take out, they're good guys. That's what, you explained it. Why would he want to be going after them? Well, we need them to sue him. Remember what I told you? I'm going to say it again. The Democrats, politicians have nothing. They are more concerned at this point about the lawyers. And Trump's cutting off the lawyers at their knees. And then they may not want to sue him. And if they can't sue him, we can't resist. Exactly. You're answering your own questions, lady. It's really that simple. It's like you guys decided you wanted to go to war. And number one, you ain't got any bullets. And number two, you don't even understand the game and what we're going to try and do to you. Go after the lawyers. Let God sort it out. Get rid of them. If they can't sue, we already know you can't govern. That's what they haven't understood. It's like, you guys, you're not, I've said it before, you're not the opposition anymore. You offer nothing. There's nothing you can do. Your ideas suck. Your people suck. And everything you've done is a contrast where people can see it. Oh, that really sucks. You just saw the guy from CNN. Oh man, people think things are on the right track. So your government, your politicians, they're over there. And you brought out these guys in suits to now be the opposition. So what is Trump supposed to do?
Number 4.
Hey, this is Scott Turner. I'm here today with my dear friend and colleague, Secretary Kristi Noem, and we're here signing the partnership to ensure that the wasteful misappropriations that have been going to assist illegal aliens in our country will no longer go to assist them, but instead to assist the American people, in particular as it pertains to housing. We have a housing affordability crisis in our country, and so today we are ensuring that American taxpayer dollars are used to assist the American people.
Unfortunately, under the Biden administration, they prioritized illegal aliens over American families. And so this memorandum is going to be a partnership that we will form to make sure that these housing programs are going to only people who deserve it, people who are in this country that need assistance, that want a better life for their families. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
This is a wonderful partnership between departments to do what we can to make sure we follow through on President Trump's promise to the American people. So with that, I will sign for the Department of Homeland Security. Thank you. Thanks for your leadership.
Thank you.
We're going to take the money from the illegals and we're going to give it to Americans. There is no affordable housing crisis. That's what I was trying to tell you the other day. Some people got pissed off at me. There is no affordable housing crisis. They just took away the money. They were giving it to the newcomers. And now they're pulling hundreds of millions of dollars away from the newcomers, and they're saying, now we can fund those in America who need help. Watch what happens. Watch how things open up. Watch how your ability, if you are in a position where you've had a hard time finding housing that you can afford, watch it change drastically over the next 3 or 4 months. There was never an affordable housing crisis. We had all the programs in place. They were just diverting the money to these people. Americans, they didn't give a shit about. And now all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. So you mean there's going to be less wait for Section 8 vouchers? Yeah. Because now the money's actually there for the program. If you look, you can see how much money they were taking out of the HUD budget, because they were stealing it from everywhere, as you've seen. And they were putting it here and they were putting it there, and like, well, those Americans, they can live in a tent. Stupid Americans. We got to take care of the tres leches. That's what I was trying to tell people. Now watch what happens.
Number 3.
ICE was also unable to account for more than 32,000 unaccompanied kids who failed to appear in court from 2019 to 2023, according to the report we read. The incoming border czar, Tom Homan, says these children are being exploited and trafficked. Is that true?
Well, Margaret, we certainly have received reports of children being trafficked, even those as to whom we know where they are. That is outside the responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security. Mm-hmm. What we do is we turn children over within 70.
Well, it's beyond my authority to help kids who need who need help. That's what he just said. You were the HHS secretary. I mean, all these other agencies were underneath you. And you couldn't help the kids that were being trafficked? Man, you are a criminal.
2 hours, as the law requires, to the Department of Health and Human Services, and then HHS places those children. Of course, we investigate cases of trafficking, but there are children who are reunited with a parent here in the United States or a legal guardian, and they move, and sometimes the government loses track. Individuals do not comply with their reporting obligations or otherwise. I think it is inaccurate to say that all of them are trafficked or victimized. There are a number of reasons why we might lose track of an individual. That is not necessarily specific.
You like to know what those reasons are. There are a number of reasons why we would lose track with somebody. Oh, what are they? Tell us. We'd love to know how you lost track of 300,000 kids.
To this administration, that has been a long-standing challenge in the immigration system. One example of why that system is so broken, why the duration of time in proceedings is unacceptably long and has to be remedied. Remember, we're dealing with a system that was last reformed in 1996.
Number 2.
Employees with the Department of Education today were given just 30 minutes to return to their office for one last time and pack up all of their things. The employees were given carts like these to wheel out their belongings. We saw countless employees also with suitcases and boxes carrying out their remaining belongings.
CNN trying to make it sound so bad, Department of Education, that they're packing up the shit and getting out. You got to leave. Wait a minute, I thought the court said he couldn't do it. I thought the court said, no, you can't do it. You can't fire these people. Funny. They're leaving. Oh, yeah.
And many of them streaming out of this office behind me with tears coming down their face. Now, they were greeted with a small crowd of colleagues, former colleagues, who wanted to show their support in this heavy moment. And many employees we talked to expressed that they're worried not only for themselves and their future, but certainly for the nation's students.
I feel devastated. You know, I've been working at the department for 35 years, come March the 26th, and I feel that I was pushed out to retire, and it feels devastating to me. You know, coming here and packing up my bags, and not knowing when I'm gonna get a next paycheck. It's devastating.
Number 1.
Now, I understand. I am not going to say losing one's job is something to be trivialized or laughed at. That woman says she's been there 35 years. Question I have is, you've been working at a job 35 years and you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from? You don't have anything banked? 35 years? You don't have a pension? That's odd. You're a government employee. Something doesn't make any sense there. You worked there 35 years. Like I said, I don't want to make light of somebody losing their job, but you know what? There's a lot of other jobs out there. We're not in the Great Depression. You have something on your resume. Hey, I worked at one job for 35 years. Okay. I'm pretty sure there's an employer out there who will look at your resume and go, wow, what did you do there for 35 years? Okay, I could probably use somebody who's has this kind of stability. Yeah, I'd love to have you. The menus are over there.
The NFL bent over for Colin Kaepernick.
Might need to do an introduction here. This man his name is Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock, in case you don't know, was a sportscaster, was on ESPN, was on Fox Sports, and decided basically to walk away from it all. People say he got fired here, fired there, but in any event, he decided to focus on the Lord. And he's been writing and doing videos, and his presence on X, he's been just telling people, this culture isn't right for us. It is a losing, same thing like Yako was saying earlier today. This culture is going to be the doom of us if we don't turn this around. And he's noticing something I've noticed over the last year or so. You guys saw how President Trump, the athletes who were at wrestling, they embraced him. You saw at MMA, the people at MMA were, embracing President Trump. Do I have it here? I think I do. Let me hold on, Jason. I'm gonna come back to you. You guys remember this? You guys remember this video that I had put together? I want to show you at the end of it when he's talking about athletes. Hold on, I still have it here. Wait a minute. And all right, this right here. I want you to look at this. These are athletes in college football and in the NFL who all started doing the Trump dance. You would think, black athletes wouldn't want this. We were told that this isn't what they want. All over the country. That guy is Kai Cenat, probably one of the top streamers in the world. And so that was going around at the time, and people were kind of weirded out because they're like, man, all these athletes are doing this stuff, and it was working. There was a sea change. Something was happening different. And Jason Whitlock, who's been basically one of the guys who's really been carrying this flag and saying we need to change. This Colin Kaepernick stuff is BS. We're done with it. And trying to get especially black men to embrace God again. This is what he had to say.
Number 1.
The NFL bent over for Colin Kaepernick. And now that we're on the other side of the Colin Kaepernick and the George Floyd and all the other fake social justice, trickle-down social justice, all the racial idolatry, now that we're on the other side, athletes are like, let's try this. Let's try something authentic. Let's celebrate our king. What's fascinating to me is how the rest of the media is going to respond to this. What's fascinating to me is that people thought I was crazy for being like, nah, I want to talk about Jesus Christ because he's a big part of sports. He's a big part of everything. I want to talk about the true foundational aspects of sports. You've heard me talk about on this show repeatedly about the YMCA, the Young Men's Christians Association, its organization and founding of organized sports. We would not be here without the Young Men's Christians Association, and how that's all been run out of sports, and how Christians no longer have control of sports.
In addition to the YMCA, I went to a Catholic grammar school and a Catholic high school, and then there was a side parochial league called the CYO, Christian Youth Organization. And we grew up, those of us who were in the school played in one league, and then the ones who had to take catechism, they'd play in the CYO league, and sometimes we would play against each other, and we just thought it was normal. We thought everybody prayed before a game. We thought everybody got in a big huddle, both teams, at the end of the game and prayed. We just thought that's what you did in sports. It never crossed my mind growing up that you don't pray. I'm about to run full speed head on into another big guy. So I better pray and go, hey man, make sure I'm okay today, okay? Yeah, okay? Yeah, okay. And I would just see everybody in the locker room. Some people doing the sign of the cross, other people just praying. But we prayed before we played. Every single game. And then after the game, both teams. And so now what we're seeing is, and the networks don't like to cover it, are a lot of these teams are now doing that. After a game, they're getting together and they're kneeling down, not because of Colin Kaepernick, but because of the Lord. And we're seeing that come back. And the media's freaking out about it. These guys like Stephen A. and Mina Kimes, they can't, hey, what's going on here? There's an actual revival happening in sports. You saw the wrestler when he won that thing, and he went to Trump and he went, salute, and then he prayed. So Jason's absolutely right here.
And I'm looking at athletes trying to assert some control and try to push back against a culture that is hostile to their biblical worldview. And if the athletes keep going this direction, there's going to be some real repercussions, because at some point the athletes are going to have to deal with, hey, how come every stadium and arena I go into, they're piping in this profane, demonic music into the stadium? Why are we doing that? At some point they're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, everybody, I don't know if you can't see it, but I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. And I remember sitting on the couch watching a Notre Dame game, and Robin said to me, what are they playing? And they still play it. Every single game when Notre Dame's getting ready to do something, they'll play a brief section of Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. Crazy. You've heard it. I have to say I love the song because Randy Rhoads was an awesome guitar player. But that being said, I can separate them. But they play that in the entirety of Notre Dame Stadium, the Catholic Stadium. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. And she caught it. She's like, why are they playing that song? Crazy Train. Crazy Train in a Catholic stadium. Well, that's the kind of stuff that I think we're going to see change. I don't think we're going to start hearing Christian music in these stadiums, but I think we're going to start hearing more patriotic stuff. We're seeing the flyovers. We're seeing the flags being waved out. Super Bowl, they messed up. They brought out this rapper. I don't even know what he was saying. They could have put subtitles. I didn't know what the hell, what was his name? Kendrick Lamar, whatever. It's crazy, but it's changing. And I think that's something we can all hope for. I think that's something we can all pray for. And I think that's all something that we can reach out to and let young men know. My grandson hit me in the heart. I mean, asked him last year, what did he want for his birthday? And he wanted a cross. And he goes on retreats. And I'm like, wow, Ashley's done. And is she watching? I don't know if she's here or not. But she's done such a great job, because I understand what the forces are like in school and what you have to combat as a parent these days. So raising a young man who's destined for stardom and keeping his head in place and keeping him believing there's something more important. I can't tell you what that does to me when I see Ashley with him. I'm like, wow, you've done such a great job. Such a great job. So I hope you guys do that with your kids. I hope you do it with your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, and let them know, don't succumb. Let's help change the world. We're trying to change it politically. But I think, as you heard today, and the reason why I brought this up was because of Yako's interview today, Yako Buyens. And what he was saying really touched me. It's like, we have to change culture. And it's going to take all of us to really help build that culture and turn away from the stuff that we've been thrust upon. Robin and I'm telling you, I was a absolute crazy person for movies. I loved going to the movies. We probably went to the movies at least once a week. And then I opened my eyes and I'm like, this is crap. And so now when we get out of here, and I'm off. Today's Tuesday night. Today's FBI night. I love the FBI shows every Tuesday night. FBI International, FBI Regular, and then FBI Most Wanted, which they're canceling all the FBI, so I'm going to be toast. But anyway, I love the FBI shows. Right now I can hear it. She's got it on, what's the one? Turner Classic, TCM. She's in there watching an old movie. And I'll go out and sit with her and watch an old movie. People saying, hey, when was America great again? Turn on TCM and you'll see like people dressed up to go to a restaurant. People dressed up to go to a play. It was something to hold in higher regard. It meant something. You were spending your money. Even black families back then. So Yako is right. We got to change the culture. I know it's a boomer thing to say, but we got to change it. I'm about to watch newest 1923. I hate cop shows. Oh, I wonder why, Maximus. you watch a cop show and go, fake. Bull crap, fake. Maximus is in law enforcement, so it's a little bit different for him. I can have my fantasy of being an FBI agent. It does not take a village. It takes good parents and belief in the Lord. Yeah. Go back into the 50s and 60s. It was like 50s and 60s. Have you guys ever seen what we were watching last night? The Dust Bowl thing. Grapes of Wrath? Is that the one? Tom Yode. And what a fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. Didn't matter if people were black in there or white in there, but just the fact of what went on with with Tom Yode, and I believe it was Grapes of Wrath. I mean, that was just a great movie. Great movie. We dressed up to go to church. Yeah, absolutely. We had to. Barry, FBI's on reruns tonight. Bummer. So that means I'll be sitting watching TCM. Yeah, I've mentioned person of interest many times. Yeah, the FBI shows are fake. Yeah, I know, but you know what? Sometimes when they go into like the wokey stuff, I just click it, turn it off. I can't watch Survivor. Can't watch some of this stuff anymore because it's just absolute trash. And how they put these people on the show. Never mind, I'm not even going to go there. All right, hold on 1 second. Hey, if you'd like to join 15,000 plus fellow patriots on X in our private X/Twitter group, go to fanfareshop.org/group. Just put in that URL in your browser. It'll take you right to our private group on X. Love to see you there. Let's share some content. And if you'd like to win a hoodie, or rather if you'd like to enter to win a hoodie, go to fanfareshop.org, fanfareshop.org, and register to win a Trump hoodie.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so before we get out of here, I want to go ahead and give out a couple of hoodies because it's the nighttime show, and we'll go ahead and make sure we take care of this. And if you're waiting for your hoodie or a Bible, they're on the way. Actually, just today, got another one ready, another shipment ready to go. So let me look in here. Again, remember, I'm telling you, by the end of the month, we're going to be shifting to T-shirts because it's going to be warmer in different locations. All right, here we go. Let me find Tommy Lawrence's drum roll, which I haven't even loaded in the new one yet. Boom, there we go. The first winner. Oops. Okay, you know what? I forgot to go in here and rearrange and add more prizes. 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Because if I don't up the amount of prizes, it won't let me give any out. So let me just do this. I forget to click that sometimes. All right, so we are ready to go again. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Boom. Lynn Wary, you have won a free hoodie. Let's go with another one. Frank Seipert, you have won a free hoodie. And one more for the evening. What happened? Oh, there's Jesse March. Jesse March, you have won a free hoodie. Fantastic. Congratulations to all three of you. Now I'm going to go ahead and read the Super Chats. R. Heath. Trafficking has been around for millennia. It will never be eradicated, but it must be fought every day. Learn that today. I thought we could fix it, but who knows. Related to this, you should look up and interview TJ from Bear Independent at Caleb House. Okay. I have to be very careful, as you saw today. Because I'm looking, everything's fine. Didn't do anything but check the wiring, and so far, so good. So I just wonder if somebody was messing with it. Went too close to the sun. Kelly Bradshaw, thank you. Ariana, thank you. Jose Gonzalez, FCC should be removing licenses from legacy media. I believe that. Sherry Swearigan, thank you very much. Thanks for all you do, Barry and Moz. You're appreciated here in the Ozark Mountains. Where's that? Missouri, isn't it? Very well, thank you. Sharon's Devotions, thank you. By the way, look for that interview with Jaco Booyens. I'm going to be posting that on Rumble and on X. I'll put it in the X group so you guys can see it there. Sandra J.G. Thompson, I bet they're wishing they'd been more careful with Trump. Myrna Nassim, yeah, imagine that if they had just let things go, he wouldn't be in office because he would have played out his second term already. But now, you screwed up. Myrna Nasino, thank you, Barry and Mods. We'll catch on Rumble later. Okay. I think everything is firing. Nobody has said to me that things aren't working, so we should be okay. Captain Danny Barrow, only Donald Trump can say the guy's a sleazebag and sound so classy saying it. Buddy Sanders, thank you for your work. Thank you, buddy, for watching. Amira Roach, Barry, Land of the Confusion by Genesis would be perfect for the next intro. They wrote it during the Reagan administration. Problem with that is a copyright protected song, and they won't let me use it. But it is a great song. Joy Roberts, thank you for always giving great insight to the drama. Thank you very much for watching. Tom Show, Barry, I love your explanations. Thank you. Penny Cordor, thanks for the great news. Thank you very much for watching. Daniel Lang, thank you. Controller supported. We are all in this together with Barry, with Trump, with all American patriots. It's going to take more than a chat room hoax or insane judge to stop MAGA. See, that's one of the things I don't think they're counting on. You're doing all this crazy stuff. You got 77 million people who are watching kind of side-eyed. Like, you forgetting about us? Kent Fish, Dems are like hens in a penthouse with no food. Throw a few crumbs, they go bat silly. Their winning is destroying America. I mean, they are completely bat poop crazy. I mean, with everything they're doing, like Senator Kennedy said, all they had to do is this.
These people are about 10 exits past normal. Look, you just got to try harder not to suck.
Yeah, just try harder not to suck. That's all they had to do. They can't do it. Brad, Freedom Act of 2020 is the Patriot Act of 2001. James Day, Spencer, Indiana was $2.49 2 weeks in a row. Now $3.29. You talk about the gas prices? Wow. Ryan, good evening, Fanfare community, tuning in from Reisterstown, Maryland, where gas is $2.76 and a dozen eggs is $4.55. Wow, awesome. I've spent some time in Reisterstown. It's right outside of Baltimore. Nice area. Nathan Hardcastle, hey Barry, did you know that the world famous archaeologist, Egyptologist and director of Egyptian antiquities, Dr. Zahi, will be in Tampa on June 5th? No, I did not. I don't know who he is. I'll have to look that up. Brad, what do you think of the Freedom Act of 2020 and the results we are facing? I'd have to dig into more of that, but I think Trump is going to be peeling back the onion layers on a bunch of that stuff. Melvin Blodgett, not going to fund it, can't afford to fund it, will no longer fund it. 3 sentences. Melvin is referring to the judge's order about Radio Free Europe, where he said it was just one sentence. Oh, I can't let that happen. Just another knucklehead. I got in on Tesla at $251. Only got 4 shares due to margin limitation. I had to cash buy more, but was limited. I feel good about helping Tesla. You go. Maximus, Barry, I'm telling you, we're all headed for martial law. My department is ordering military equipment. I have as I've said, a sheriff buddy who I talked to too. Put it this way, I can't disagree with you. Because they're going to go crazier than they are. And at this point, they're basically forcing his hand with these judges. Stacey Lane followed that up. How would martial law benefit American citizens? I should have somebody come on and explain it, but martial law basically, he would stop a lot of stuff that's going on. It is the equivalent of going nuclear. For the most part, your life won't change except for the better. For the most part, your day-to-day won't change. It's Washington that will change. He's not going to tell you can't leave your house. He's not going to tell you that you can't go shopping and live your life. It's what's going to happen in Washington. That's where it would get crazy. Mr. Mike, in the blue cities. Leftist media and the Marxist left are definitely having a constipational crisis. Like I said it. Maximus, Barry, at my police department, I work with guys that are still in the military, and I'm telling you, this is headed towards going kinetic. I don't disagree with you. I pray that it's not, but I don't disagree with you whatsoever. My brother is a colonel in the Army right now, and some of the stuff I'm hearing, you're right. Just another knucklehead. Please stop saying she's from Texas. She elected in Dallas. She's from St. Louis. Yeah, use that wig for mopping a floor. Oh gosh, oh gosh, Ryan. They pull J6 out their butt when you want to confront them. Justin, your chat would not let me say snatch. That's interesting. Another YouTube glitch. Mr. Anderson, no Burchett, no answer. Following Swamp Rat, Texas. I'm gonna try to get him back on the show. America Ramirez, look for Senator Cruz, punch her in the face. Yeah, I saw that. She's like, I forgot to put that one in there. She talked about punch him in the head. Yeah. Maximus, look at the trend. Barry out. Legislator and judicial branch are impotent. Next in line is the military. Anybody who's really paying attention, you can actually see this. As I've said, the Democrats they're done. Forget them. They're not even worth discussing. All they have is a judicial at this point. They're trying to do this in lawsuits and everything else. And what Maximus is saying is they can't enforce anything, which leads you to believe what's next. Connie Cole, Senator Tim is getting lots of comments on X. Senator Tim Waltz, that idiot. Yvette, I believe many Republicans are also guilty as it pertains to USAID. Yes, they are all allowing this nonsense because it keeps the attention off of them. Folks, we have a very corrupt government. Indeed. John Pryor, it's only a move. Signed, Leave Realty. Sandra's J.G. Thompson. Where was that? It just jumped up. Oh, time to reveal the Republicans on the take as well. Yep, I completely agree. Danny Robinson, great commentary in between executive orders. Thanks for explaining stuff like that. Also, if we're going to fund foreign radio, I want a Mexican radio. I remember that song. Job for 9. Barry, please check out The Chosen. Yep, watch it all the time. Great show. Great show. James Day, 2 years ago it was 249. Okay. Neo, love the old classics, Barry. Great shows. Thanks. Love those. She loves those old movies. She's out there watching one right now. I can't hear which one it is, but I know she's on that station. What are your thoughts on this, Sarah? You're very, very quiet. They're listening. Nathan Hardcastle, you should take a look. Yep, I've watched it. Mama Mima, DeFi sharing that interview with my grandsons. Oh, Defi. Yeah, I'm going to, like I said, you'll see it on X probably tomorrow and on Rumble. Barry sent you a track for your intro. Yep, I got the email. I'm checking it out. Of course, Rawl says, but how did your government allow all these chemicals in our food and hopes that they haven't forgot about the Fantasy Island list? You need to watch that interview. That interview is going to tell you a lot. Again, like I said, pray. Make sure you pray about it before you jump into it because it's a heavy, heavy, heavy interview. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for coming back on and giving me a chance to redeem myself because I don't know what happened, but it happened. And somehow this time, no problem. Not talking about the dark side and nothing happened. No little blipping on a screen and no buffering. Everything's fine. Just don't talk about that stuff, I guess. Scary times. Scary times. All right. See you guys tomorrow.